Hey, everybody, welcome to the Soul Rehab Project. This is Sarah Saxby, and this is the podcast where we talk about truth because everything in our life has been a lie. In today's episode, I would like to talk about the things that are no longer working in our lives. We're doing the same things, but for whatever reason, it's getting harder to keep doing those because we're not getting the same response. We're not feeling better. And I'm going to share a story of mine that will relate. And you can take my story and swap it out with anything in your life. It could be a partner, it could be friends, job, whatever. But I think it will give you some perspective. And then I want to talk about why, like what's happening in the world right now that's causing everyday life as we've always known it to just not work anymore. Everything feels like a square peg in a round hole, right? And for sure, we definitely saw that after 2020. And I'm going to talk about that. But I'm going to start by sharing my story about when I was married many, 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 many years ago. And the misalignment between, at that time, my husband and I took 100% responsibility for the misalignment. So for any issues we had, any way we weren't feeling, whatever, I took responsibility for that. I said, I know there's something wrong with me. I know there is. And I'm going to figure that out. I'm going to fix it and we're going to be fine. Because in my head, this was the script. I was married, kids, house. This is it. This is how it was going to stay. So I needed to figure out what was wrong with me so I could fix it and carry on with my life as a wife, mom, person of the community, whatever. So I spent, I don't know how much time it was, a year, 2 years, doing everything I possibly could. I was in therapy. I remember we went on retreats, workshops. I read books. I journaled, vision boards, you name it. I had a spiritual teacher. I was convinced that there was something wrong with me. Even my therapist, remember I was saying, okay, you have to diagnose me with something. So once you diagnose me with something, there will be a name and there will be a solution. So then I can fix that. I can do that and I'll be fine. I can carry on with my life. And I did believe that. And I remember my husband had said, well, when, at some point in time, when are you going to get better? Like, how long is this going to take? And I said, well, why don't you get yourself some help too to deal with me? Why don't you get some help to deal with my issues? And then maybe that'll help. So he did. He went to go talk to someone. And that therapist, asked if he minded that I come in also. He wanted to talk to both of us. And so we did that, had a great conversation. And the therapist said, do you mind if I looked at me and said, would you be able to come in alone? And asked my husband if he minded. He said no. He goes, okay, well, maybe you could come in a couple of days and you and I will just talk. I said, okay. He's got a solution, right? He has something that I can do, something I can change. He's going to say something and I'm going to be able to keep my exact structure. I'm not going to have to change anything. So I go in there and we're talking and he looked at me and he said, did you ever think that there was nothing wrong with you? No. What do you mean? There is. I have all these issues. I need you to help me with them. And he said, there's nothing wrong. He said, you're just in the wrong marriage. You're just not with the right person. You're not with the person who fits you. You know, one of those moments like in a movie where the camera's just spinning? That's how I felt. 'Cause I never thought that it was the actual life I built that was the problem.